So I was telling you that everything actually is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But certain times in the Quran and the Hadith, we see certain things are attributed to Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Like, إِنَّكَ لَا تُسْمِعُ الْمَوْتَى, like, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى, etc. So how do we reconcile between this? You understood what I'm saying? We know you can't lift your hand up except with the permission of Allah Ta'ala, right? But certain times in the Quran and the Hadith, we see the acting is being attributed directly to Allah Ta'ala. So wherever the act is being attributed directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the act is being attributed directly to Allah Ta'ala, what it means is that Allah Ta'ala done this without conventional means. He done it kharikun anil adat. So normally, it's not possible for a human being to throw sand into the eyes of every single person. It's not possible for him to throw, but the fact that the sand went into the eyes of every single person means what? That this was done by Allah Ta'ala, right? So, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى, and you not throw when you did, said Allah Ta'ala. Our act precedes all other acts. Certainly valuable for Muslims, more valuable than their victory in jihad, was this instruction which disengaged their minds from the means and tied it up with the master provider of all means, and through it saved them from falling into the trap of pride and arrogance, which generally intoxicates victorious nations. So normally when the people are, victorious in jihad, then that victory goes to the head. So Allah Ta'ala is clearly saying, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. After that, it was said that victory and defeat are subservient to the command of Allah Ta'ala, and His support is with those who are obedient. وَلِيُبْلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْهُ بَلَاءً حَسَنًا, so that He may bless the believers with a good favor. It means that Allah Ta'ala bless the believers with this great victory in order to give them the best of return for their obedience and struggle. The literal meaning of the word bala is test or trial. As for the test taken by Allah Ta'ala, it sometimes comes when somebody is put to distress or hardship, and the occasions when this is done by giving someone comfort and wealth. Here, the name of Hassan, good bala, bala and Hassan is given to a test which is taken by giving comfort, wealth, support, and victory, to find out if his people who are blessed take it to be a favor from Allah Ta'ala and are grateful for it, or take it to be the outcome of their personal excellence, right? Become proud and arrogant and undo what they did, because there's no room for pride from anyone before Allah Ta'ala, right? So Allah Ta'ala want to ground the Muslims, right? Then Allah Ta'ala says, ذَلِكُمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ مُوهِنُ كَيْدِ الْكَافِرِينَ. And apart from that, Allah Ta'ala is the one who frustrates frustrates the device of the believers. In contrast to this, another benefit which came out of the victory has been described in the 4th verse. Another benefit from this, we discussed all the other benefits. Allah Ta'ala wanted to crush the kuffar. He wanted to show the dominance of Islam. Allah Ta'ala wanted to favor you, etc. The next favor is Allah Ta'ala wanted to do what we said here. Allah Ta'ala wanted to frustrate the disbelievers. So apart from that, Allah Ta'ala is the one who frustrates the device of the disbelievers. In other words, it can be said that Muslims were blessed with this victory for yet another reason. That is, the plans of the disbeliever should be rendered ineffective. The plans of the disbelievers should be rendered ineffective through it. Something which should make them understand that divine support is not with them, and no plan can succeed without them, so that they can understand that they are not on the Muslims are on the haq. The 5th verse carries an address to the defeated disbelievers from the tribe of the Quraysh, and refers to an event which came to pass when the Quraysh army was about to depart Makkah on the mission to confront the Muslims. According to the refusal to march against the Muslims, the commander of the army, Abu Jahl, and other chiefs had made earnest prayers, hold the covering drapes of the Baytullah in their hands before leaving Makkah. Strange as it would seem, they did not specifically pray for their own victory. Rather, the prayer they made was in general terms, and his words were, "Oh Allah, let victory come to the superior most of the two armies and to the better guided out of the two groups. So inadvertently, they were making dua for who? For the Muslims, because the Muslims were what? The more guided of the two groups, right? And to the better guided of the two groups, and to the nobler of the two parties, and to the religion and faith which is more sublime of the two. All right. So that brings is still another verse there that must be done now. That's part of the thing, right? Okay, then it goes on further, which is in tastaftihu faqad ja'akum al-fath. Right? If you pray for victory, victory has come to you. وَإِن تَنْتَهُ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Right? And if you give it up, it is better for you. See? There's a new verse. Okay, let's leave it. Let's look at the Arabic of this, what we done then. Okay, open there, inshallah.
After the revelation, we can't find out. Which condemns him to the intent of punishment, now find. Abu Jahl is opposite Islam. Primarily, but
okay, read Bismillah from where? Read the Arabic.
The political power of the Quraysh.
فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُم. Read from there, Bismillah. Right, so فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُمْ. And then you did not kill them, but Allah Ta'ala killed them. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ. You did not throw إِذْ رَمَيْتَ when you threw. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. But Allah Ta'ala threw. وَلِيُبْلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْهُ بَلَاءً حَسَنًا. Said that He may test the believers a good testing. إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Verily Allah Ta'ala hears and He knows. ذَلِكَ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ مُهِنُ كَيْدِ الْكَافِرِينَ. And that is because Allah Ta'ala He will frustrate the plans of the disbelievers. Right, read the Arabic, inshallah. أنه خالق أفعال العباد. So Allah Ta'ala is showing, He's explaining that He is the one who creates the actions of the believers, and He is the one who puts the special effect in it, right? وأنه المحمود, and He is the one who is praiseworthy, worthy of praise. على جميع ما صدر منهم من خير. Upon everything that had occurred from them, good, whatever came from the believers, the victory, etc. Yeah, لأنه هو الذي, because He is the one, وفقهم, He inspired them لذلك وأعانهم عليه, and He's the one who assisted them in their victory against the disbelievers, right? That is why Allah says, فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُمْ. That you did not kill them, but rather Allah Ta'ala killed them, right? Yeah. لَيْسَ بِحَوْلِكُمْ وَقُوَّتِكُمْ قَتَلْتُمْ أَعْدَاكُمْ. It is not with your power and your might قَتَلْتُمْ أَعْدَاكُمْ. Right? مَعَ كَثْرَةِ عَدَدِهِمْ وَقِلَّةِ عَدَدِكُمْ. That you killed or you vanquished your enemies despite مَعَ كَثْرَةِ عَدَدٍ, their abundant number, وَقِلَّةِ عَدَدِكُمْ, and your few numbers. Yeah. بَلْ هُوَ الَّذِي أَزْفَرَكُمْ عَلَيْهِمْ كَمَا قَالَ. But He is the one who gave you dominance upon them, like how He says, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ. That verily نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ, He assisted you في Badr, in the battle of Badr, وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ, when you were weak and you were few, right? Al-ayah. لقد نصب في مواطن كثيرة غير منصرفة مفاعيل, right? So Allah Ta'ala also says, لقد نصركم الله. Allah Ta'ala assisted you في مواطن كثيرة, in many different ways. ويوم حنين, in the battle of Hunain, إذ أعجبتكم كثرتكم, when your numbers impressed you, right? When your numbers impressed you, فَلَمْ تُغْنِ عَنْكُمْ, but it not avail you. Luqman, what does this mean, your numbers impressed you in Hunain? What does it mean your numbers impressed you in Hunayn? Yeah. So remember, Hunayn took place just after the Fath Makkah. So the Sahaba Ikram themselves were so many. I think they were about 13,000. How many were they? They were 13,000. And then they had the Quraysh of Makkah that also joined them. So many, before this, they were always the underdogs. They were few, right? And again, victory. So they thought, today we are so many. We are not few. We are many. We are abundant. We will easily vanquish them. We will easily vanquish them. As we're saying, إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ, when your numbers impress you, but فَلَمْ تُغْنِ عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا, it did not benefit you in any way. Carry on.
يعلم تبارك وتعالى أن النصر ليس بكثرة العدد.
Right. So Allah Ta'ala knows that أن النصر, victory, ليس بكثر العدد والعدد, is not because of an abundance of numbers and abundance of resources. Right. Carry on.
إنما النصر من عنده تعالى.
That وإنما النصر من عنده تعالى, that the real help comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah mansurna. Right.
كما قال تعالى كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة.
فئة. Like how Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين. كم من فئة قليلة, how many smaller group, غلبت فئة كثيرة, it vanquished big groups بإذن الله, with the permission of Allah Ta'ala. والله مع الصابرين, verily Allah Ta'ala are with the patient ones.
ثم قال تعالى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أيضا في شأن قدرة من التراب التي حشر بها وجوه الكافرين.
Right. So قال تعالى, Allah Ta'ala also speaks. Right. ثم قال تعالى لنبي صلى أيضا في شأن القبضة. He speaks about the handful of sand من التراب التي حصب بها وجوه الكافرين يوم البدر, the one which he threw with it into the face of the kuffar on the day of Badr. Right.
وما رميت إذ رميت ولكن الله رمى.
Right. وما رميت إذ رميت ولكن الله رمى. You did not throw when you threw, but rather ولكن الله رمى. It is Allah Ta'ala who threw. Right.
هو الذي بلغ ذلك إليه كتبهم بها.
Yeah. So هو الذي بلغ ذلك إليهم. He is the one who made that sand reach them. And I explained you the principle here. When it's attributed directly to Allah Ta'ala, then we say it is done without conventional means. Right. 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 وَكَبَتَهُمْ بِهَا, and he blinded them with it. Right. لا أنت, not you. Carry on.
قال ابن عباس رفع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يديه يعني يوم بدر فقال يا ربي إن تهلك هذه الأصابة
إن تهلك هذه الإصابة
فلن تعبد في الأرض أبدا.
Yeah. So he says that قال ابن عباس رفع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يديه, that Rasul raised his hands يعني يوم بدر, on the day of Badr, فقال, he said, يا ربي إن تهلك هذه الإصابة, if you destroy this group, فلن تعبد في الأرض أبدا, you will never be worshipped on the earth again. Right.
قال له جبريل خذ قبضة من التراب.
فقال قبضة من التراب.
فارمي بها.
So Jibreel instructed him, خذ قبضة من التراب, take a handful of sand, فارمي بها في وجوههم, and throw it into their faces. Right. من تلك القبضة, from that hand. Right. فولوا مدبرين, so right, they fled showing their backs. Right. Carry on. وقال محمد بن قيس وأحمد بن كعب القرظي لما دنا القوم بعضهم من بعض, when the enemy came close, some of them to some. Right. أخذ رسول قبضة من تراب, Nabi took a handful of sand. Right. فرمى بها في وجوه قومه, flung it into the face of the people. وَقَالَ شَاهَتِ الْوُجُوهُ, may the faces be disfigured. فَدَخَلَتْ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ كُلِّهِمْ, it entered the eyes of every single one of them. وَأَقْبَلَ أَصْحَابُ رَسُولٍ يَقْتُلُونَهُ, and whilst they were disorientated, the companions of Rasulullah surged forward, يَقْتُلُونَ, killing them, right? وَيَأْسِرُونَهُم, and taking them as prisoners. وَكَانَتْ هَزِيمَتُهُمْ فِي رَمِيَّةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. So their destruction or their defeat came in the throwing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hence Allah Ta'ala says, فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى, that you do not throw when you throw, but it is Allah Ta'ala that threw, right? وقال عروة بن زبير said وَلِيُبْلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْهُ بَلَاءً حَسَنًا, so that he might test the believers a good testing. أي لِيَعْرِفَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ نِعَمَهُ عَلَيْهِمْ, so that the believers will recognize his favor, Allah's favors upon them, meaning the harim ala aduhim, from empowering them ala aduhim, upon the enemy, ma'a kathrati aduhim, despite the abundant numbers of the enemy, wa qillati adadihim, and their few numbers, li'arifu bidhalika haqqahu, so that they may recognize through that the truth, right? وَيَشْكُرُوا بِذَلِكَ نِعْمَتَهُ, and they may express appreciation for his favor. Okay, let's stop there. Allah Ta'ala accept, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala accept. Allah Ta'ala keep the means of forgiveness. Allah Ta'ala make it the means of shifa. G. There's 2 lines left there. What is the verse? Okay, carry on reading then. Inna Allah samiyun alimun. Inna Allah samiyun. Allah Ta'ala hears the dua, right? Yeah, Allah Ta'ala hears the dua of that person, بِمَا يَسْتَحِقُ النَّصْرَ, that person who is worthy of assistance, وَالْغَلَبَةِ, and victory, right? In the statement ذَلِكُمْ, that is because أَنَّ اللَّهَ مُوهِنُ كَالْكَافِرِ, Allah Ta'ala frustrates the plans of the kuffar. So هذه بشارة أخرى, this is another glad tidings, right? ما حصل من النصر, what was obtained from the help, that أنه right, أنه أعلم, Allah informed them بأنه مضعف كيد الكافرين, he will weaken the plots of the kafir, right? فيما يستقبلوا, right, in what will come ahead, مصغر أمرهم, and he will bring to naught their matter, وأنهم وكل ما لهم في dibarin wa dimarin, and that them and everything that is for them will be in dibarin wa dimarin, in destruction. Okay, let's bring us to the end. Allah Ta'ala accept, inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdihi, subhanallah.